Yakov Paliy is considered to be the last Nazi of the Third Reich who lived in the USA until recently. In the late 1940s, he managed to evade responsibility and obtain citizenship by convincing the American authorities that during the war he worked as a shepherd in his native village. However, in the early 2000s, Paliy was exposed. It was decided to deport the criminal, but no state expressed a desire to accept the former criminal to itself. A native of a Polish village called Stranz, Yakov Paliy came to the United States in 1949. When processing the documents, he told the representatives of the American authorities that he did nothing but work until the end of the war. At first, he grazed cattle in his native village, and then worked at one of the German factories. The man was accepted in the USA. After 8 years, he became a full-fledged American citizen and even got a family. In New York, he lived quietly and modestly, and therefore aroused absolutely no suspicion from anyone. Nevertheless, someone still recognized Yakov Paliy as a German SS man. According to some reports, someone passed an anonymous note to the FBI, after which, namely in the early 2000s, the investigative authorities took up Yakov Paliy seriously. Despite the fact that more than half a century has passed since the man arrived in the United States, there was plenty of evidence of his guilt. And he confessed everything himself. In 2003, all this was supported by a court decision. In addition, a few months later, Yakov Paliy was also deprived of American citizenship. During the investigation, it turned out that Yakov Paliy was not an ordinary civilian at all. In fact, back in 1943, he was recruited on the territory of Poland. For some time, Yakov served as a guard at the Travniki concentration camp. As a warden, Paliy responsibly performed his duties and once even prevented the escape of prisoners. None of the fugitives returned home alive. In accordance with the court's decision, the Nazi was found to be involved in the extermination of a large number of Jews, as well as the peaceful Polish population. In 2004, the U.S. authorities ordered the deportation of Yakov Paliy from their territory. However, no country has agreed to take the criminal under its wing. Germany also refused to take Yakov Paliy in, arguing that he had never had German citizenship. Therefore, for a long time, Yakov Paliy continued to live in New York. In this regard, activists held a rally in the city No German SS in the USA. It was organized by students and teachers of one of the Jewish colleges. Nevertheless, Yakov Paliy filed an appeal against the court's decision, which was rejected. 14 years after Yakov Paliy was recognized as a Nazi criminal, he was still expelled from the United States of America. It happened on August 20, 2018. 95-year-old Paliy died in a nursing home in Germany in January 2019.